7 days ago, Shawndre Delmore was found unresponsive in his cell at the Fulton County Jail. He was taken to the ICU where he died 3 days later on September 3rd. Today, his family spoke out. Here's part of what they said.
My son was so loving. He wouldn't harm anybody. He didn't deserve to die like this. He had his whole life ahead of him. I want answers. I want to know what happened to my son. I want to know why he had to die.
Senior Correspondent John Huddy has more. John?
Yeah, well, the family is demanding answers. They're demanding medical records, access to other inmates to see about what happened. Shawndre Delmore's death, Greta, is now the 6th in as many weeks at the Fulton County Jail and the 10th death at the jail so far this year. And as you mentioned, Greta Delmore was found unresponsive in his jail cell August 31st. He was transported to Grady Memorial Hospital in downtown Atlanta after the jail staff attempted quote-unquote life-saving measures to revive him, that according to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Well, the Atlanta Police Department, some background here, arrested Delmore in April on second-degree burglary charges. He was being held on a $2,500 bond. Think about that. Since April, he's the latest person to die at the notoriously violent and dangerous jail, which is about 15 minutes outside of downtown Atlanta. 35-year-old LaShawn Thompson died, and this made a lot of headlines, in a bed-bug-infested cell covered with bug bites and lice. He was in the jail's psychiatric wing last September, and an independent autopsy found he died from severe neglect. His family reached a $4 million settlement with the county. And then a week before Delmore's death, another inmate, Samuel Lawrence, also died. He reportedly begged for help in a letter to federal authorities before his death, saying that he was being badly hurt inside the jail. Now, it's unclear at this point how Delmore died. An autopsy obviously will be performed, but his family and his mom, who you heard from, said he went into the jail as a healthy 24-year-old and certainly didn't deserve a death sentence going in there. Back in July, the DOJ announced an investigation of the jail for allegations of inmate abuse by the guards, terrible medical care and treatment, and the absolutely horrendous conditions, including overcrowding. Keep in mind, the jail was built back in 1989 to house about 1,200 people, but it tops more than 3,000 at any point. And Fulton County has a backlog of thousands of criminal cases, including felonies, murder cases, as many as actually 20,000 earlier this year, something Fulton County DA Willis has come under fire for, particularly in light of the time and resources, more than 2.5 years, in fact, of time that she's put into the Trump investigation and subsequent indictment. And back to that case, the Georgia case against Trump, Trump's Georgia attorney Steve Sadow wrote in a court filing today that Trump plans to file a motion to move his case from state to federal court. And Greta, as I reported yesterday, we're waiting to see how the federal judge in Atlanta overseeing Mark Meadows, the former White House chief of staff, his request to move from state to federal court, what the judge is going to rule in that case and what impact and bearing it has on the Trump case. But back to the case, that latest death at the Fulton County Jail, just a horrendous situation, and the family is absolutely demanding answers at this point. Greta.
You know, John, I want the viewers to know one thing that's very important. They started this investigation more than 6 weeks ago. We've had 6 more deaths since you reported on it. There's absolutely nothing to prevent the Attorney General of the United States from shutting that place down immediately and transferring all the detainees to another facility. There's absolutely nothing to stop him, except that he just doesn't care.
Yeah, and it's
John
a great
Huddy,
point. And the calls are growing for that, by the way, definitely.
Well, how much more do you have to have? I mean, it's like, what more investigation? I mean, it is so outrageous. Anyway, John Huddy, thank you.
You bet.